I always thought I was unlucky with my family, but at some point, it turned into a real nightmare. My name is Jake, and if there were a ranking of the craziest families, mine would definitely be in the top 10. It all started in childhood. My Aunt Karen, yes, ironically, that's really her name, was always against me doing anything wrong. And by that, she meant absolutely everything that didn't fit her worldview. When I was 10, she had a meltdown on Thanksgiving because I said I wanted to become a programmer. "That's not a real job. You should join the army like your cousin Chad," she screamed throughout the house while my mom tried to calm her down. But that was just the beginning. When I turned 16, my Uncle Bob decided he was my new mentor. He literally started stalking me, appearing in the most unexpected places. I'd meet my friends at a cafe, he'd be sitting at the next table, and accidentally bump into me. I'd go to the movies. He'd already be in line for popcorn. Once, I even saw him hiding behind bushes near my house when I came home late at night. When I asked him what the hell he was doing, he replied, "Just making sure you're not getting mixed up with the wrong crowd." When I went to college, I hoped I could stay away from all this family madness. How wrong I was. My grandmother, a saint on the outside, but a generalissimo inside, decided I was too distant from the family and started sending me 10 messages a day. "Did you eat? Did you go to church? Did you talk to Aunt Karen?" If I didn't respond within an hour, she would call my parents and panic that something had happened to me. As a result, my dad started interrogating me every time we talked. But the strangest part began after college. I rented an apartment and enjoyed my life until one day I came home to find Aunt Karen and Grandma in my living room. Turns out, my dad had given them a spare key just in case, and they decided to use it because you weren't answering calls. I was in the shower. After that, I changed the locks and told my parents I wasn't going to tolerate this anymore. And then my cousin Jessica got involved. She declared herself my savior and decided I had to return to the family fold. She started arranging random meetings at the supermarket, showing up at my workplace pretending to be a customer, and even trying to befriend my neighbors. One day, I saw her in my building. She was talking to my landlord, trying to find out how much I was paying for rent. The last straw was my birthday. I decided to celebrate it with friends at a bar. We had just ordered drinks when suddenly my entire family showed up. Grandma, Aunt Karen, Uncle Bob, Jessica, all of them. They found my Instagram, figured out where I was going, and decided to throw a nice family surprise. The evening turned into a 2-hour lecture about how I was forgetting my relatives, and that family was more important than friends. I just got up and left. After that, I cut off all contact with them. Changed my number, moved, deleted social media. For the first couple of months, they tried to find me. But then, it seems, they gave up. Sometimes I still have nightmares where I open the door, and there stands Aunt Karen with a wild look in her eyes. But at least now, I can finally live my life. Hopefully. Story number 2. I've been reading this sub for a long time, but I never thought I'd write here myself. But here I am, because my family is beyond comprehension. I don't know how I haven't lost my mind yet. Maybe just because I've been used to surviving among them since childhood. Meet my family. Let's start with my mother, Karen. Yes, the name suits her perfectly. She's a total control freak who believes that her son must obey her in everything, even though I'm already 25 and have long moved out. Then there's my Uncle Steve, who seems to simply hate the fact that I exist. He always thought I was a failure, and reminded me of it at every opportunity. And then there's my Aunt Linda, who believes that everyone should live the way she sees fit. Otherwise, you are just a lost person. And of course, my cousin Zach, a person who has been trying to set me up all his life. I could write a whole book about how they ruined my life, but I'll tell you about the most striking moments. How my mother tried to ruin my relationship. I was dating a girl named Emily for about 2 years, and everything was great until my mom decided that Emily was not right for me. Why? Because she wasn't a copy of her. My mother believes that any girl who isn't like her is unworthy of me. At first, she just tried to tell me nasty things about Emily. But when she realized that it didn't work, she went further. She found Emily's number and started sending her threatening messages, saying that if she didn't leave me, bad things would happen. When Emily showed me these messages, I was shocked. I tried to talk to my mother, but she claimed she was just taking care of me. In the end, Emily couldn't take it anymore and left. The uncle who stole my car. I bought my first car with money I had been saving for several years. It was a used but reliable Honda Civic, and I was proud of it. One day, I came to a family dinner to avoid drama and left the car outside. When I went out, it was gone. It turned out that Uncle Steve just decided to borrow it because his car had broken down, and he didn't see a problem. I had to call the police, but my mom begged me not to ruin the family and to withdraw the report. In the end, I did, but after that, I never trusted him again. The aunt who tried to get me fired. I work in an IT company and love my job, but my Aunt Linda thinks I should have a real job, meaning one where I work with my hands rather than sit at a computer. She decided to help me by writing an email to my boss, claiming that I was lazy and irresponsible. Fortunately, I have a good relationship with my management, and they just ignored it. The final straw. The last straw was when my cousin Zach tried to frame me, accusing me of stealing money from my grandmother. He just took the money and then told everyone that I did it. I literally had to prove my innocence by showing that I was in another city at the time of the theft. After that, I cut ties with my family. It was difficult, but I never regretted it. Now I have my own life, and for the first time, I feel free. So if you also have a toxic family, know that you are not alone. And sometimes, the best way to save yourself is just to walk away.